Hey, what's going on, Virgos? Butch here. I am going to do your 1 week read. It is a general read, so it may not resonate with everyone. It is for your sun, moon, rising, and your Venus. For all you cross watchers, roles can be reversed. Always feel free to comment down below. I'm going to be using the Crow Tarot. And with all that being said, let's get it. Universe, what do we have for Virgo? What's going on for the Virgos? What is going on for Virgos? There we go. All right, Virgos. So the first thing that I see, Virgos, I feel like this is someone that you already know. Now I feel like this has been more of a friendship. With that 3 of Cups and that 6 of Cups, I feel like this is someone you already know, and I feel like it is someone that you have developed a friendship with. And I feel like you showed up for this person, and but to be completely honest, and I'm gonna be really honest with you, and I know you can handle it. I feel like when this person first met you, I feel like you made them feel safe. You made them feel a lot of things. But I feel like when they first met you, they needed you. I feel like in the beginning there was a lot of hot and cold energy, but they just kept coming back. We have that 5 of Pentacles. I feel like this person, they needed you, but they didn't know they needed you. And they really didn't see this coming. What they needed was right in front of them. And like I said, I feel like in the beginning, it was more of a need. It was more they needed someone to show them something different. I feel like this person, and for all the cross watchers, I'm sorry, but I feel like there was a bit of brokenness. I feel like there was some trust issues. We have that self-imposed prison. I feel like in the beginning they had a hard time letting you in. Even though they needed you, they had a hard time admitting that they needed it. They needed you. With that Tower, I feel like I said, with that 5 of Pentacles, we had that hot and cold energy. I feel like in the beginning there's a lot of chaotic energy. I feel like this person really, I just feel like a lot of self-sabotaging energy. I feel like this person, sometimes we meet people that we need in our life, that we needed that person to come into our life, and there's a reason for it. But sometimes that reason isn't always clear in the beginning, especially when one person is very hesitant or very defensive against it. But I feel like you made this person see some things that they didn't necessarily want to see. You made them see something that they didn't know that it was there. But it was always there. They just didn't see it. And I feel like you helped them bring that to light. Now, I feel along this journey, things changed. They went from needing you to wanting you. You know, I feel like you got through to this person. And I feel like it's a bond with that two of cups. I feel like it's a bond that's unbreakable. You know, I feel like there's a bond that you share with this person that they've never felt with anybody else. And they made them see things in a different perspective with that hangman. And I feel like it was simply, I mean, Virgos are so awesome. You know, very nurturing energy, Virgo. You know, I feel like you nurtured them, even though they were defensive in the beginning, even though they were in that self-imposed prison. I feel like you stuck it out. I mean, Virgos are awesome that way. It's one of the things I love about Virgos. You know, Virgos see potential. Even if you don't see it, they see it. You know, they felt protected. They felt safe. They feel safe still, but now it's in a different way. In the beginning, they took it as you were just trying to help them. You know, in the beginning, like I said, they needed you, even though they didn't want to admit it. And they were resistant to it. But I feel like the more they realized you weren't going anywhere, and the more they realized how safe they felt with you, you know, that's when a huge transformation happened in this person. And it went from need to want to love. We have new love. And like I said, with that death card, a huge transformation. And I feel like it was all built out of trust. You know, I feel like it took time. And it continues to take time, but it's slow and steady. But as we move forward, the trust between the two of you, it only grows. And I feel like that's something they never really had with anybody else. You know, it is hard when you feel a pull to somebody, but you can't even trust them. Some people have such trust issues, they can't even trust themselves. And I feel like this is one of these people. You know, I feel like they didn't know how to trust. And like I said, the more this moved forward, the more they felt like they were exactly where they're supposed to be. With that World card, everything came full circle. You know, and I feel like being around you, the more they're around you, the less that anxiety takes over. And I feel like I've talked about this before in other reads, is I think when you're in the right situation, I mean, my true opinion on it is I feel like when you're in the wrong situation in any form in your life, not just romantic, it could be your job, it could be anything. I feel like some people experience anxiety because of that, because there's something telling you that this isn't right for you. And I feel like with you, that's the thing that pulled them closer to you, is the fact that they were releasing that anxiety. They felt comfortable. They felt like they were exactly where they should be. And that's what caused this person to move into, you know, that emotional connection with you. And like I said, it went from just being friends, you know, it went from someone just helping them out. And I feel like in the beginning, they may have been having a hard time being honest with you. You know, even when they felt something, I feel like that's why you got that hot and cold energy, because I feel like the closer they got in the beginning, the more they pushed you away. But the more they realized you weren't going anywhere, I feel like that's what the biggest difference is here. You know, I feel like you make them very happy, and this person really wants to return that favor. And I feel like at the end of the day, you're going to get everything you expected. And like I said before, with Virgos, very good at seeing potential. You know, very good. And I told the story before, too, about my dad. Growing up, my dad used to buy houses. And he'd get these houses that most people wouldn't buy. He'd buy them really cheap, and he'd fix them up, and he'd sell them. Or there's a few of them we actually lived in. But it was like, he's a Virgo, and he would see things. You know, he could go into a house and calculate in his mind what it would look like when it was done, and what it would take to get it there. You know, and so many people in my life have mentioned that about my dad. It's one of the things I always admired about my dad. My dad has vision. He can see things that other people are too some people see things and they go into a house and they say, okay, this is going to cost way too much, or this is going to, it's going to take this to fix this, take this to fix this. But my dad would always be able to, he always came out on top on when he flipped houses. He always made it a good amount of money, because he knew, he's seen it for what it could be, not for what it was. And that's one of the things that, I feel like Virgo is very good at that. And in his case, it was houses. A lot of Virgos I know, very good at that type of thing. They can see things, they see the potential in things that other people might overlook. I mean, Virgos are very intuitive that way. But you already know that. But like I said, I feel like you being there for this person, even when they tried to push you away, you didn't give up. You nurture this person and you help them release whatever was holding them back. With that Devil card, a huge release in this person. And I feel like I said, I feel like now that this is gone as far as it's gone, that new love that they feel for you. I mean, this person is in love. And I feel like they are going to be very honest with you. Like I said, I feel like it took some doing to get through that wall, but now that you're through it, then we have that Hierophant, strong union. And like I said, with the Ten of Pentacles, get everything you want. We have the Family card, and then we have the Sun card as well. So a lot of happiness coming from this, and I feel like it is, like I said, this person, they didn't know how important you were going to be, but they needed you more than you realize. Now with this person, we have Aries, or we have some Aries, we have Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. But it's like that. I mean, with people like, I can't say enough how much I admire Virgos, because Virgos, they're similar. They have similarities to Leos in the fact that they'll, take the shirt off their back and help you out. But the difference between them and Leos is Leos kind of want the, they want to be appreciated for what they do. They'll take the shirt off their back for you. They'll do anything for you, but they want to be appreciated for it. Virgos don't want that. They don't need it. And I feel like that's what separates Virgos and Leos that way. But like I said, all the Virgos I know, I've only had good experiences with Virgos. And it's one of those things where, like I said, they see potential. They see things that other people don't see. And they're very good at getting that potential to come to light. Like I said with my dad, he'd buy houses, and you look at them one day and you're like, oh my God, this is going to take a lot of work. But then when you get going, it's a lot easier to make things work when you already see the end. And that's what the biggest thing was. Somebody else could have bought the same house and not got to the same place because they didn't see it. Working towards something, it's almost like having a picture in your mind and you're working toward it. So it makes it easier, you know what I mean? And some people just kind of go at it and end up spending too much or not doing enough. But like I said, it's one of those things where, some people are just great at that. My dad sometimes would take over, he bought a few places that I was like, oh, there's no way he's gonna make this a nice place. He did. So I guess I didn't see it, but going back to the anxiety thing, I feel like, good and bad. I think sometimes when we're in the wrong situation, you could be with somebody and you're always dealing with anxiety. It's because something somewhere is telling you that this isn't the place for you. Same as a job or a city that you live in. if all that gives you this anxious energy, you need to start looking at why. And I know some people have anxiety and it has something to do with more than that. But a lot of people that have anxiety, I dealt with anxiety. I've been in situations where I was with someone and I knew it wasn't right for me. But I ignored my intuition. And like I said before, the analogy that I used before is almost like in the morning I have an alarm clock. And my alarm clock, when I press snooze, the next time the alarm goes off, it's louder and it's a different sound. And I feel like anxiety can be, some people's anxiety can be attributed to that. It's like, your intuition is telling you something, you're not listening. So it's like, okay, well, I'm going to come at you and I'm going to come at you louder and more annoying. And I feel like that is what a lot of people can attribute their anxiety to. I mean, other people, other situations, I'm not a doctor. I just dealt with anxiety for years. Same as I had this job one time and I made a lot of money. I worked in the oil rigs. I don't know why I'm trying to keep that quiet, but I worked in the oil rigs for probably 5 or 6 years. And I hated the job, but I made so much money. And I was like, the anxiety wasn't just the fact that I didn't like the job. It was the fact that how can I leave this job and go get another job and make the same amount of money and live the same kind of lifestyle and afford my lifestyle. And that's another part of the anxiety. It kept creeping up on me. It's like, I knew I wasn't supposed to do that job, but the anxiety that I got from the thought of leaving it matched the anxiety it gave me doing it. So it was kind of like a catch-22. But I eventually left, and a lot of that anxiety I had subsided because I was doing something that I actually enjoyed. It's one of those things. Sometimes money can be more of a problem than it is a solution. I made a lot of money working on the oil rigs, but my son was born. I was working 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. Every day I was working. I'd work a month on, get 5 days off, and then I work a month again. So I felt like I wasn't seeing him, but I was doing it for him, and that's where sometimes it can become a catch-22. But like I said, that's not always the case of why we deal with anxiety. But I feel like for me, and for a lot of people I've talked to, that was a big thing. And it's different things too. It's just because you feel anxiety in a relationship doesn't mean that you shouldn't be in that relationship. It just means that you're not living up to your potential in that relationship. I mean, you could be in a relationship and have trust issues, so that eats away at you when there's really no reason not to have any trust issues. There's so many different angles to it, and I could talk about it forever. But I don't want to take up all your time. But if you feel anxieties in your, where you live, the house you live in, the street you live on, the person you're with, the job that you do, I mean, it's something to take a look at and figure out what's causing the anxiety. Maybe you're not doing enough. Maybe you're doing too much. I mean, that's why I feel like meditation is a big thing. I really took into that. And I find giving yourself some quality time to yourself to really think about things and to really trust your intuition is the most important thing I can tell you. Once I started listening to my intuition's always going to tell you what you need to hear, but it's not always going to tell you what you want to hear. And once you get over that and realize that it's what you need to hear and you start listening, that's when a lot of my anxiety started really going away. And I really started being able to take a handle on life. Because anxiety affects you in so many different ways. But like I said, I could talk about this forever. Be good. Take care. Stay safe.